with chapter 6, life processes. Let us get started with the revision 1. We have already completed the chapter. Now today we are going to start with the revision of the important concepts related to the chapter. So first we'll talk about nutrition. In this lecture today, that is revision 1, we are going to discuss the important concepts related to nutrition. Now when we talk about nutrition, we know that it is the process of intake of nutrients which can be organic or inorganic in nature, and they are breaking down into simpler substances to give us energy in the form of ATP. We know that the energy currency of our body, that is ATP, which stands for adenosine triphosphate. So basically there is a very important question which comes up in the examination, that is, what is the difference between autotrophic and heterotrophic mode of nutrition. So when we talk about nutrition, it is basically divided into two, that is the autotrophic mode of nutrition, and the other one is referred to as the heterotrophic mode of nutrition. So you have to learn the differences between autotrophic and heterotrophic mode of nutrition. Now when we talk about auto, this term it refers to cell. That means it is the process by which the organism, they can prepare their own foods. So basically those are the plants, because they have got the chlorophyll pigment which will help in the process of photosynthesis, and by the process of photosynthesis they can prepare their own food. And when we talk about hetero, that term refers to non-cell. So that means this group includes those organisms which are dependent on the other organisms for the purpose of food. So here when we talk about autotrophic organisms, these are the ones which can prepare their food. Heterotrophic, they cannot prepare their food, they are dependent on the autotrophs. Next is that they've got the chlorophyll pigment. Here obviously the chlorophyll pigment is not there. They can carry out photosynthesis, they cannot carry out photosynthesis. And when we talk about the example of the autotrophic organism, it includes basically the plants, certain bacteria, like for example the cyanobacteria or the blue-green algae is also included in this category. So this cyanobacteria or the blue-green algae. So blue-green algae. So that's a bacteria, cyanobacteria or blue-green algae, that can carry the process of it carries out the autotrophic mode of nutrition. When we talk about heterotrophic mode of nutrition, it includes amoeba organisms like Homo sapiens, like us. Talking about autotrophic mode of nutrition, autotrophic mode of nutrition is divided again into photosynthesis organisms which carry out photosynthesis and the other which carry out chemosynthesis. So this question is very important, like what is the difference between auto and hetero. So you'll have to write 4 points of difference between them. Then talking about auto, it is further subdivided into photosynthesis and chemosynthesis. So now when we talk about photosynthesis, it means the manufacture of food. Here photosynthesis, photon means light, and synthesis means to prepare. So what I want to say is that it is a process in which the food is prepared by utilizing the light energy. It gets converted into chemical energy. And chemo means they are going to utilize chemicals. The example is iron sulfur bacteria. So this bacteria will utilize these chemicals and prepare its own food. So now when we talk about what is the difference between auto and hetero, here the organisms can prepare their own food. Here they cannot. They are dependent on the autotrophs. First point of difference. Second, they can carry out photosynthesis and chemosynthesis. Here they cannot do so. The third difference, they have got the pigment chlorophyll. Here they lack the pigment chlorophyll. Next, it can be further divided into photosynthesis and chemosynthesis. Heterotrophic mode of nutrition, when we talk about, it can be divided into parasitic, saprophytic, and the next one is holozoic. So these are the 4 points of difference, and the next will be the example. Example, here you can quote the example of any of the green plants and the organism like the cyanobacteria, blue-green algae. Here you can quote example sucks blood, or it can be Homo sapiens like us who are dependent on the autotrophs. Now, the next is talking about photosynthesis. Here it is carried out by plants. Chemosynthesis carried out by bacteria. They will utilize the light energy and convert it into chemical energy. Here, they will utilize the chemicals and prepare their own food. Now, we need to also know the balanced chemical reaction for photosynthesis. When we talk about the balanced chemical reaction for photosynthesis, it is 6CO2. That means the plants will utilize carbon dioxide from the atmosphere in presence of 12H2O. They utilize the water from the soil, and they will produce C6H12O6, that is glucose plus 6 molecules of oxygen plus 6 water molecules, obviously in presence of sunlight and chlorophyll. So this is the balanced chemical reaction of photosynthesis, wherein 6 carbon dioxide molecules are utilized by the plants from atmosphere, 12 water molecules from the soil with the help of xylem in presence of sunlight and chlorophyll. They will manufacture this molecule, which is referred to as glucose. So this C6H12O6, this 6 carbon compound is nothing but glucose, eliminating oxygen in the atmosphere, which we breathe in, and releasing water. Now, talking about the heterotrophic, it is divided into parasitic, saprophytic and holozoic. So when we talk about parasitic, in this kind of mode of nutrition, parasitic mode of nutrition, basically the organisms, they are dependent on the host. They will utilize the nutrient from the host. For example, like leech. It can be like lice. So lice is present in our hairs and it sucks our blood. So that kind of mode of nutrition where the organism will derive the nutrients from the host. So the lice is the organism and we are the host from which it is sucking the blood. So that mode of nutrition is referred to as parasitic. Only one is getting benefited and we are getting harmed. Only the lice is getting benefited and we are getting harmed. Talking about saprophytic, here this mode of nutrition is basically exhibited by the various fungus. So this is basically, this mode of nutrition is exhibited by fungi which depend upon dead and decaying organic matter. For example, if you keep the bread like that, it turns stale. You'll see the growth of fungus on it. So that mode of nutrition is saprophytic. And when we talk about holozoic, it is the engulfment of the entire food, which is basically carried out by organisms like amoeba and also by organisms like us. So here you need to remember the examples, like parasitic mode of nutrition is exhibited by leech, lice. So give 2 examples of organisms which exhibit parasitic mode of nutrition. That can be a very short answer type of question which can be asked. Talking about saprophytic, it is any fungi, you can name penicillium, any of the fungi like bread mold, that is rhizopus, can be put in the category. Talking about holozoic, it is amoeba, and then we have also got Homo sapiens. So these were the important points which were basically related to nutrition. What is the difference between autotrophic and heterotrophic, and the examples of the organism exhibiting various mode of nutrition. In the next revision module, we will talk about the photosynthesis, and we will also talk about the heterotrophic mode of nutrition in amoeba as well as the Homo sapiens, that is human beings. Hopefully you must have understood all the concepts which we revised today.